In recent months, Bangladesh has been gripped by a wave of mass protests that have shaken the very foundations of the nation. What started as a response to the reinstatement of job quotas for descendants of freedom fighters from the 1971 War of Independence has evolved into a broader movement against the government's policies and actions. The initial trigger for the unrest was the High Court's decision to bring back job quotas that many students believe favor a select few. With youth unemployment soaring, these quotas were seen as a barrier to fair employment opportunities. The peaceful protests quickly turned violent, leading to brutal clashes with security forces. Hundreds have died, and thousands have been arrested so far. The government's response has been severe, involving live ammunition and a nationwide internet shutdown. This heavy-handed approach has only fueled public anger and attracted international condemnation. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has blamed opposition groups and Islamist parties for the violence, but critics argue her government's actions, including deploying the ruling party's student wing against protesters, are largely responsible for the escalation. The crackdown has exposed deeper societal issues. Despite impressive economic growth, Bangladesh struggles with rampant unemployment, especially among the youth. Corruption and nepotism allegations are widespread. The ruling elite appears increasingly disconnected from the aspirations of ordinary citizens. While Hasina's government leans heavily on the narrative of the 1971 Liberation War, this historical focus holds little appeal for a younger generation more concerned with present-day economic realities. The use of force and intimidation has backfired, alienating the population further. Calling protesters Razakars, a term for those who collaborated with Pakistan during the Liberation War, has only inflamed tensions. The government's refusal to engage in meaningful dialogue or address the protesters' demands has deepened the crisis. The path forward is uncertain. Protesters demand an end to violence, accountability for those responsible for deaths and injuries, and the release of unjustly detained individuals. The international community has called for restraint and respect for human rights, but it remains to be seen if these calls will have any impact. There are fears the government may resort to even harsher measures to silence dissent. Reports of arbitrary arrests, torture, and enforced disappearances are already emerging. The temporary lifting of the internet shutdown does little to reassure citizens, as it could be reimposed at any moment. The protests in Bangladesh are a stark reminder of the fragility of democracy and the dangers of unchecked power. Unless the government addresses the legitimate grievances of its people and takes concrete steps to restore trust and accountability, the country risks descending further into chaos and instability. The world is watching, and the future of Bangladesh hangs in the balance. Stay informed, stay engaged. Thank you for watching.